around 4:30 p.m., I had a bowl of original SpaghettiOs with a glass of whole milk, like I'm having right now, only I'm using a different glass now than I did then. Before Mom and I drove to the mall. Our town mall. If I recall correctly, we were there roughly from 5 p.m. To about 7 or 8 p.m. At the latest. During that time, we walked through pretty much the entire mall. Occasionally going into one of the stores to do some window shopping, for the most part. Though the first place we went to was the Michaels that was near the mall, but because it's not a shop integrated into the main mall building, I'm not sure if it's part of the mall or not. That Michael's was on the plaza where the mall stands, but it's not part integrated into the mall itself. At Michael's, Mom got a couple of things she wanted, such as something to stand one of her photos up better. While she got a few pieces of polystyrene for me. These pieces, to be exact. These pieces which I'll be using for future projects. In the afternoon, in the hours prior to us going to the mall, I worked on a polystyrene drawing project that I believe I started back in 2020 at the latest, or possibly even earlier, but I abandoned it at a couple of points. So when I finish it, it'll have to be counted as a 2023 polystyrene drawing. Since the timestamp, which I use to call the engraving, is based off essentially the minute I finish the polystyrene drawing. But yeah, in the hours before we went to the mall, I worked to finish that abandoned project, which is essentially, which is a food container, a polystyrene food container, which historically I don't like working with because on those it's easier to smear the polystyrene. Well, I mean smear the marker on that particular kind of polystyrene. And if your hand comes into contact with it while it's wet, not only will some get on your hands, but you'll actually fade it and have to reapply the marker. So you can't really at least historically, I haven't done anything super detailed on a food container, a polystyrene food container. Early on, while we were walking around the mall, it turned out they had a new shop that opened in August. Pepper Palace. They had a wide variety of delicious hot sauces. And they had a free sample bar. And how it worked is that you would get a white plastic sample spoon, and then squeeze a drop from the squeeze bottle of the sauce you wanted to try. Then when you were done, you would put that plastic serving spoon into a designated container for it. In this case, a small used spoons container. And I followed that the first time we stopped by, when it was just Mom and me. Though the second time we stopped by, when it was Mom, Johnny, and me. When I was done sampling more, hot sauces that I hadn't tried yet, I accidentally initially put the little serving spoon. I got the serving spoon for the second time I stopped by was smaller than the one I got for the first stop, when it was just Mom and me. I got the first serving spoon from one of those dispensers that you might see at either a supermarket or a fast food restaurant, where you just push a button essentially and a plastic spoon comes out. I got the second serving spoon when Johnny showed from a little jar, plastic jar. You push a button, the button pops up, you use the popped up button to pull off the lid, you use a pair of tongs to get a plastic spoon. Then you put the lid back on. I initially put that second spoon into the general trash can with a black plastic garbage bag. That bin was empty except for that serving spoon, so I picked it up, got it out of the bin, and put it into a proper used spoon container. We ended up getting this sauce from Pepper Palace. The guy who was at the shop, working at the shop, both times we stopped by. Second time I stopped by, asked him what the hottest sauce they had was. And this was their response. Generally, the first time I stopped by, I tried all of the hottest sauces I saw at the time. Then the second time, Johnny showed me the mild ones that tasted either like fruit or something else sweet. I tried those, and then I saw some new X-Hot and Extreme rated sauces that I hadn't seen before. I have considerable tolerance to spicy food, even though I don't think I've had spicy food that much in the past. After I tried those mild sweet sauces, I saw those hotter sauces that I didn't see the first time I stopped by Pepper Palace, that new shop. And apparently, I think those sauces were noticeably hotter. Though maybe I couldn't fully appreciate how hot they were since I only had a drop of each one. But some of them were significantly hotter, with one of the extreme sauces, I believe it may have been called Mr. Payne, did leave me with a bit of a lingering burning sensation on the tip of my lip, but none of them made my eyes and nose drip profusely from one drop. Even though all of those hot sauces were nice and spicy and tasty for the most part. They have recommended uses. It's usually what kind of foods to put each of the sauces on. For one of the extreme sauces, one of the uses was defrosting your driveway. And no, it wasn't this one. They don't have this one on the shelf, so it must be pretty serious. Sometime between the first and second Pepper Palace stop, we didn't buy anything the first time we stopped, but we did buy that flatline sauce the second time we stopped by, because I wanted it. I noticed there was one of those "You Break, I Fix" kiosks, and suggested to Mom we stop by. Initially because I wanted to see if all of the cracks were on my old screen protector, or if any of them had penetrated to the phone screen itself. And it turns out one did. Yeah, but it's not bad enough to necessitate a screen fix. The screen still works just fine. Haven't noticed any problems with the touchscreen. The man working the kiosk sold us a new tempered glass screen protector, although there is a little crease or bubble, as I believe he first initially described because of that one crack that's mostly across the screen horizontally. At least from how I hold it to film a video like this. So now I have some peace of mind that the screen won't be cracked in the event I accidentally drop my phone again. I have it in a protective case. We stopped at some clothing stores Mom wanted to stop at without buying anything. We stopped at that big Barnes & Noble bookstore, which ultimately sells much more than just books. That's when Mom got the call that Johnny was there just as we were leaving. We did some more walking around with Johnny throughout the whole store. The whole mall. In total, we must have been at the mall for 2 to 3 hours, I would imagine. I got in a lot of steps today. Or at least that's my impression, but the mall doesn't seem to have changed that much from the last time I was there, from how I remember it. Then after we were done walking around the mall, we were going to initially go to Brew, which is where Clutch used to be. It's the same building, only now they're under new management. Yeah, but both Mom and Johnny felt it was too packed. So we instead went to Robbie's, but that place ended up being packed too, but ultimately Mom and Johnny still went there because they had a live band. A live band that did covers, but they did them pretty well. Yeah, that chili was part of some Wendy's, some food we got from Wendy's around 9 p.m. After we left Robbie's. Got a garbage plate with 2 cheeseburgers at Robbie's and essentially a mule that, to be honest, kind of looked like lemonade. I believe it was a cranberry mule. We made the trip at Wendy's because initially I intended to order a full order of Bolivian pretzel sticks to go, and I would have had that. Only our waitress ended up forgetting those pretzel sticks. So, because I didn't order it with that, it's called, at Robbie's it was called a trash plate. I didn't order it with that because I wanted the sticks to go, and had I gotten them, I would have had that for my dinner video instead, but instead we went to Wendy's, and not only did we get that large chili with cheese and crackers, but we also got a Parmesan Caesar salad from there. I remember during the second stop at that Pepper Palace place, there was a maple hot sauce, though to get a dropout, I had to shake it pretty hard at the guy's recommendation. Also, during that same hours before we went to the mall period, I made a little intro and outro for that 2022 polystyrene slideshow project using Beyond Studio, the same third-party website I used to make the raw video clips for the Dan Hamming episodes. For the episode, I kind of have to make a polystyrene drawing to serve as a prop character for some scenes I'm working on.